I'm tired of singing high shit. It's just, I mean, it's like, geez, you have to wear these tight underpants and pull on my balls.
That's got to be the headline.
Right.
Bullocks.
My bullocks, I learned that word.
Did it all evolve out of the nylon strung intro?
Yeah, that's where the whole thing came from. I mean, I just stumbled onto it while I was on the road with Slash and the guys, and when we got together, I was just messing around. I think he went to use the bathroom or something, and I was just kind of digging around. He walks in and he's like, yeah, let's try and work that into a song. So that's where the whole thing started.
So we have to work that into a song.
I just basically had that, and then the when the kind of the riffy thing, and then we just kind of took it from there and built the song, and we just sat in a room together and bounced ideas. There was one part, the bridge thing, that was a riff that had been around for a long time that he had. Mm-hmm. I think that might have been around since the One Day Remains days.
Yeah. The chorus came up on the spot.
Yeah, was on
the
the
bridge
spot
was all on the spot. The little off time chicadana and the verses was all on the spot. So yeah, I mean that intro just inspired pretty much a whole tune.
A whole magical journey.
Yeah.
You're really digging in on that first solo. How did you approach that in the studio? Was it very impulsive?
Yeah, I mean, I actually stood up at one point and just, closed my eyes and pretended like I was standing in front of standing in the Enormo Dome. Yeah, with a solo like that, it's about just, as much emotion as you can pump through as possible. So that's, that was the MO there.
And the outro solo it's kind of a bit of that vocalization again, and really to get a really energetic solo.
Yeah, that one. I knew that was going to be an important song. I was putting a lot of pressure on myself for that one. I was a little. There's a few notes in there that I would, if I could go back and re-record it, I would play again or change. But as a whole, I'm happy with it. Started with the riff, the chorus idea I always liked a lot. It was one of the top. I'm always more excited about I think the chorus is the core of the song. I think that was really the best part. And then coupling that riff with it, Myles and I really loved the riff. And then I think it really got topped off with the intro riff, bridge riff. I think that was going to be a real highlight live.
Yeah.
For me, that's when he played the dum dum ba-na-na, I was just like,
live.
That's
going to be a big,
so massive, and it's just like dump trucks falling from the heavens.
Was it an obvious choice as first single? It certainly sounded.
Yeah, I think we all kind of just knew. I mean, I think it's the first record we've ever done where we just kind of knew from the get-go. We felt like that bullet was in the chamber, and that is part of what allowed us the freedom of really expanding ourselves on the rest of the record. Because once you know you have that, you're not chasing that single. That you can hear those records where it's like, oh, they were trying to shoot for another single here, and here's another single to attempt, and it may fall short. So it just really was a liberating thing to have that in the chamber that early on.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a big planner. I like to plan out my solos and have at least the bulk of the ideas I want in the solos there before I go on a track. But the vocal part came in with, while I was writing solos, I would try and just hear what I'd want to hear in my head before playing, and then learn how to play it afterwards. Like in Bleed It Dry, and a lot of that, especially the ending of that, was all just a melody I came up with in my head, and then learn how to play it on the guitar. It's my favorite for this album for sure. It's to me it has the most emotion in it.
Tonally, it sounds quite different for you as well. What did you use on that? Did you reamp?
I used my fingers on most of it.
Yeah.
Until it gets to the end, I used my fingers.
It's really surprising part in a song like that.
Right.
What came first? Did you have that kind of fingerpick part that led into that separately and decided to put them together?
That song initially started with a riff that Myles had for the verse, and it was a real cool,
very Mastodon inspired part.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite of his riffs on the record. And after that, I played the chorus intro riff to couple with that, And then we got to the point of getting to the bridge, and I think we all just stopped. And Myles just kept on playing this finger-picked pattern, and I was like, "Ooh, that's all. It's very Opeth." And I was like, "This is the ultimate lead setup right here." I'm like, "Keep going," and I think he was a little apprehensive at first, like, "I don't know. We want to keep the energy up. Do we want to bring it down like this?" And I was like, "No."
So those were expensive chords. I was like, "Is this getting too jazzy?" And then Mark was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And I was like, "All right, great."
It's like the perfect solo sound bed, and yeah, I mean, it's just because what I had to play over was so special, it made me really want to. I kept on putting that solo off because I wanted to make that one the best solo, and I spent a lot of time on it.
I haven't heard you sing like that since maybe Mayfield 4.
Yeah.
It reminded me a lot of that and your love of Jeff Buckley as well. Was that something that
Yeah, no, I think that it's funny. That's kind of how it turned out. I mean, I think that that song was like a cross between, Buckley, and there was a band in the '90s called Failure, which definitely is reminiscent of that band that Elvis and I both really like. Yeah, I think it's a unique, kind of a different approach for Alter Bridge, and that was exciting. It's a very dark lyric. I think the title implies, like lover. I mean, what's that? Is this like a love song, or is this some sort of like, what is this? But it's really dark once you get to the third verse, which was fun. But yeah, I guess it's kind of harkening back to that old approach vocally.
Is that there's a lot of open strings. What tuning is it in?
Actually, it's in half step down, drop D.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's just the way you just keep the E flat and B flat ringing throughout the whole thing. Yeah, that's the good old drone.
Some nice bluesy licks as well in that.
Yeah, that's more of the slow finger style kind of thing. And there was initially going to be a solo at the end of the song, and then I came back in with Elvis, and he's like, could extend it or not, but you got to hear what Myles did over the ending, and he did that great vocal thing, and it would just have ruined the largeness of the ending.
The largeness.
The Uninvited, that's a really different riff for you, and it's kind of like a rolling hammer-on. So it reminded me of Tool.
Yeah. That's funny.
We almost dropped the song because of that. Because I didn't even think of it being, because I like Tool, but I never bought any of their albums or anything, so I'm not real influenced by Tool. But Scott Phillips is a big Tool fan, and he was like, "Yeah, it's kind of got this Tool feel to it, like that. What was the song?
Yeah, I know.
The pieces fit, that song." Yeah. And so I was like, we'll push it to the side for a while, and then we broke it back out, and everybody was like, it's a hammer-on riff. How many hammer-on riffs are there? So let's use it. And it really came a long way from the beginning to its final recording. I think it's now one of the best songs on the album, and I think live it's going to be one of the good ones too. The vocal melody came in after the riff was established.
Yeah.
It was one of those things. Whenever you hear a riff like that, I'm not sitting there writing a riff and singing over it. It's just too hard to do this. So the only thing that we had to keep in mind was, like in Addicted to Pain, was just put some chord changes in it. So we wrote it with some chord changes so he could put a good melody to it. And I remember when I had written the original riff, I really wanted it to be on a record because I knew it would be fun. I knew it would be aggressive. It's, I like licks that have a lot of movement, but don't throw your ear off what a melody could fit over it still easily. And initially, when we started playing it, it was a good 10 BPMs faster than we finally settled with.
It's really cool on Pieces Broken that you take on the lead vocal in the middle eight. Is that?
Yeah. You're the first person to know
that. How did you decide on that?
I don't know. Was it Elvis's idea?
I can't remember, but it sounds great. I mean, it fits perfect,
Well, I think happened was the original melody or something was too high in your range, but And if you sing it down in my range,
Maybe that
just
was it.
isn't-
That was probably it.
Yeah, a lot of
Put it
times
on
that will
the
happen where if I write an original melody that just isn't in his range, he'll sing it up in his range and I'll harmonize underneath him like the alternate melodies. So with that one, we decided let's just flip-flop it.
Right.
I love the way the solo launches from the vocal melody.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite. That was the first solo I wrote for the record because that solo, that chorus, I've said 100 times, was my favorite chorus going into the record, and I really wanted to sing that out on the solo. Myles had a verse and a pre-chorus all worked out for that song, and I laid the that other riff on top of it. So the riff with the octaves came on top of what he was already doing.
It's funny because that was a really hard song for me. That had been around for a while, and it was originally like a Latin kind of guitar thing. The parts had actually kind of evolved when I was working on a solo record years ago, and that's where those were going to go. And I never really felt like it was finished, so I brought it into the guys, and we turned it into more of a rock thing. And when he put that guitar part to it, I just thought it was a great hook, and suddenly the whole thing made sense to me in a rock context. But it was really hard to sing for that reason.
Pre-chorus is what really sold me on that song. That's one of my favorite pre-choruses.
It's going to surprise a lot of people. It's really quite different for you guys.
Yeah, it is definitely great.
We called that our Musey.
Yeah. It's definitely got a bit Radiohead, Muse, Queen element, which we all love and have, listened to a ton of. So.
And there's some really cool alternate picking in the midsection from you. It's like with the pull-offs, it's almost like a tap.
Kind of an Iron Maiden-y sort of middle section.
Oh, for a minute there, I'm like, how does the midsection go? yeah. That was all on the spot. I think we've kept on trying different things with that bridge, and finally came up with that.
There's a cool part running through the chorus, actually. Nice.
Yeah, that chorus was completely different when we first put the song together. It was a more dark, heavy, brooding kind of chorus, and it turned that song. It kind of changed the mood of the song. So Myles came home one day and he was like, because we were always kind of a little bit on the fence with like this song could be something really special, but of course it's cool, but it could be something more. So he came home one day. It's like we put a new progression in the chorus section. So I had Elvis play it for me. I recorded it, took it home, and did this kind of guitar line over it. Typically I'd do some chunky chord stuff over it, but this time I arpeggiate some things and move around.
That's a cool part. It turned out really cool because the part I came with was just real straight forward chord so that the vocal melody could sit a certain place. But when he had that and it was a different sort of thing that I heard him do, which was cool. And that's what's fun about this record for us is because we're trying different rhythms, we're trying different things, we're thinking outside of the box. Everybody's doing things that no one had an idea they could do. Other than like guys in your own band, like, I didn't know you'd think like that. So that's cool. Towards the end, because we had a finite amount of time to finish the record, and I was really just busting my ass to get all the lyrics done that I needed to get done. And that song was just sitting there, and I was like, man, I just don't know. I don't know if I'm going to get to it in time. I'm not sure. I was kind of stressed. And the other thing was, I remember hearing Mark play it and thinking, that's such a Mark type song. I could hear that on a solo record. That verse and that chorus in particular were just like, that's so Mark. So Elvis brought up the idea of like, well, let's just go ahead and have Mark do it. And which totally made sense because we knew the fans loved Words Darker Than Your Wings because Mark and I were trading off. We knew, Mark is certainly more than capable of singing from the Tremonti record, so it totally makes sense. And he did a great job.
Cool. And is there a Celtic Frost?
Yes.
He caught
the first one to get it. I was writing the lyrics, and I actually like the lyrics to the second verse a lot. Those are my favorite. The first two lines are my favorite, and I was actually driving back from Tampa writing the lyrics as I was going and recording on my phone, and
that's not safe.
And I came up with that Circle of Tyrants line, and I was like, yes, that's a good tribute to one of my favorite bands ever. That solo was more improvised than anything else on the record. The ending is all just happened in the studio. It was kind of me falling down the stairs and landing on my feet and listening back and going, oh, cool, So I was lucky. Yeah, it kind of had to us. It had that swing kind of to it.
More than we'd ever had. We've never done a song that really swung to that degree. It was a new thing for Flip. But you have to find very Michael Bublé. Which is a good thing. I love Michael Bublé.
Is that that's a shared solo, isn't it?
That's the one where we trade off and we get back to...
That's the first one of his that I heard, and I was like, shit, Myles, look at this. He's going to be pulling out all the stops on this record. That song was another one like Cry of Achilles that just came from the musical kind of riff.
Yeah. I heard Mark actually played the riff in passing. I think he had it on his computer or something. He kind of just... I don't even remember him being like, oh, we got to do this. I just heard it. It was like, that is a really unique riff because it's aggressive, but it's kind of got this quirky bluesy element to it, the way it bends from that minor third up to the major third just a little bit. And it turned out really cool. It's just, I think it's different for us, which was something that we were striving for. That's going to be a weird one because actually I just realized I'm going to have to retune the guitar to play that because the pull-off section in the bridge was a total like banjo wannabe part, but in order to get those pull-offs to go to open strings, I had to tune the strings. It's like almost a dadgad sort of tuning. So we're going to have to add another guitar. What tuning you in for? You're just in standard half step down, right?
Drop D, half step.
Right. If we play the song live.
Yeah, I'm doing the big ninth chords in that part. He's doing the busier part.
Right.
Didn't want to give the wrong impression, I think, by putting it too far up in the album.
Right.
It's just like in a concert where we kind of leave the fans with a Rise Today or a more fun, lighthearted song, kind of with an album that's, other than Fortress kind of drags them back down. You kind of leave them feeling good at the end of the record.
Is there Nashville tuning?
That is drop D with the high E tuned down to D as well.
Right, okay. There's harmonics going on in there, so...
Yeah, just a few. But yeah, I had that guitar part worked out for a while, and I really loved this chorus I had with it. But it just didn't translate with the whole band. It just dragged. So we really worked that song out. We changed the tempo drastically on that song. It used to be much quicker, and we slowed it down for the vocal. It would just been rushed too fast, and we came up with the bridge on the spot, I believe. Mm-hmm. I can't even remember what I played on that bridge. I got to go relearn that.
Right.
I really like the ending. The ending.
Yeah, the ending is cool.
Lifts really nice.
It's kind of like a Journey outro.
And vocally, it's right up there on the...
It sure is. It's one of those songs that when you never should create a melody in your head voice because it will bite you in the ass. Because we were in the room and I remember he played those parts and I just started kind of scatting one day and I grabbed my phone and I sang and put it down and it was just real quiet, whatever it was.
Yeah, I was really impressed with his melodies on this song in particular because I was like, I'm kind of stumped over this. These verse changes are kind of strange to write just a fluid melody over.
No, it wasn't easy.
Yeah, and then the chorus melody he put over that was awesome as well.
Thank you.
It's nice to hear you in that lower register on here.
I like singing in the lower register. You know why? Because it's a lot easier. I'm tired of singing high shit. It's just, it's like, geez, you have to wear these tight underpants and pull on my balls.
That's got to be the headline.
Right.
Bullocks.
My bullocks, I learned that word.
Did that begin with that kind of arpeggiated intro?
Yeah. It had the arpeggiated intro in the chorus. I really dug the chorus melody, and from there it was just it went way beyond my expectations as a song. I thought it would be a cool song, thought it'd be a cool moody song, but I didn't expect it to be what it turned out to be.
It's almost like a relative of Blackbird in some ways.
Yeah, somebody said that before. They said, "Didn't know you've ever topped Blackbird." I still don't think that song tops Blackbird at all. I mean, I think Blackbird still takes the cake.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite song still too. Most proudest achievement.
Yeah, and I think my second favorite now would probably be "Cry of Achilles." Maybe, it's up there.
Yeah. It's really cool. The solo kill. It reminded me of when I first started listening to metal. Kind of Megadeth.
Yeah,
That's cool that you say that. Yeah, we were kind of shooting for like that old school, like the trade-offs with Judas Priest or Maiden in particular, and so it's not. Yeah, it's definitely old school.
It sounds like a real dialogue between the two.
Yeah, we were talking. We were talking with our guitars
Yeah.
to each other, yelling at each other.
yeah.
Did it come together pretty quickly in that section, or did you?
Well, it didn't, because once it was decided that after the second chorus, we were going to go into this kind of stoner rock riff that was basically changed time signatures. The big question, and then solo, which is fine. But the problem is how you get out of that back into, the original time signature. So that was the challenge, how we were going to pull that off, and we managed to land on our feet. But it was tough. It was tough.
Just the reverse reverb swell flange. The challenge for me on that one was to write two solos in open D5, which is always fun for me. I think it makes you think outside the box and sound different, do different licks than you normally would. I got to do that on Open Your Eyes and Ghost of Days Gone By a few times, and they always turn out you surprise yourself with what you can come up with.